Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m., bright and early right here at home on the range, and thank you so much for being here, folks. You guys are awesome. Okay, we're going to get right on with the show. I won't have a big preamble, but I will say, after you get a load of this bunch, I know I also won't do a goofy rhyme. You just won't believe how awful these cops are.
Go ahead, ma'am.
October 20th, 2022 was the day. I wish it never would have happened.
You're listening to two former Williams police officers.
He is intoxicated and stumbling.
Not far from historic Route 66.
Brian, stay here with me.
Williams police arrested a man named Brian for allegedly stealing a $3 can of beer from this gas station.
Bring it back for me. Good job. Thank you, Brian.
This time, Circle K wanted to press charges.
Officer Nicole White made the arrest.
I'm going to pat you down for weapons and contraband.
We're watching her body camera video.
I heard a noise that I've never heard before.
Brian, no.
Do it!
No.
I'm gonna have your
Oh, God.
The sound I heard was his cranium, his skull hitting the sidewalk.
We're slowing down the video for you to see it frame by frame. 49-year-old Brian Lopez is in handcuffs up against the wall. Then out of nowhere, you can see a hand appear in the left corner of your screen. And Brian's taken to the ground in less than a second.
Oh, God. Could I get medics on scene to...
Look to my left and there's my lieutenant, Lieutenant Romero, and Brian is on the ground not breathing.
The guy on the video who grabs Brian is Lieutenant John Romero, an executive officer of the small police agency.
Brian, can you talk to me, bud?
I thought he had been killed at that moment.
Romero justified his actions by saying Brian was resisting arrest and his jacket slipped.
The chief put out a lengthy letter on Facebook.
Chief Tad Weigel continues to defend the actions of his lieutenant, referring to it as a split-second decision and calling what happened an unintended injury. He goes on to say, the clearance from both Page Police and AZ Post underscores the professionalism and appropriateness of Lieutenant Romero's actions in the given situation. Those agencies did clear Romero, and we reported that. But here's the reality. AZ Post only reviews an agency's complaint process. It doesn't investigate officer misconduct. Another officer on scene also voiced grave concerns. Paramedics transported the 49-year-old to the hospital with a serious head injury.
How would you describe the use of force by your lieutenant? I would describe it as violent. Brian didn't deserve that.
Jeff Kirkheim spent years investigating police complaints for Apache Junction Police. We showed him the records we obtained in this case.
How would you describe what you've seen and read so far?
The females had it in hand, and I think he stepped in.
Kirkheim also says any proper investigation should have included interviews with everyone involved.
You simply can't look at a police report and look at a body cam and draw a 100% conclusion on what everything happened.
Which brings us to that police report. Lieutenant Romero justified his actions by saying Brian was resisting arrest. He claimed Brian's jacket slipped when he went to intervene. A story Brian's family also questions, and all of it over a $3 can of stolen beer.
Definitely was not reasonable force there. He was being belligerent, but he was doing what he was told to do.
Brian! Hey, buddy, are you awake?
Were you made aware of what happened on that body cam video?
No, we were not. We were just told he was handcuffed and fell backwards and hit his head, and that was it.
And here's another important fact. Officer White and another detective are the ones who went to Brian's parents' house the night he was injured. That interaction was also captured on body camera video.
Do you happen to be Brian Lopez's mom?
Yes, I am.
White says they went there because they were worried about Brian, and she now regrets not telling the family exactly what happened.
My lieutenant came on scene, and he was resisting a bit and fell down and had an accident. Cut his head open pretty good.
To go in there and tell him that the lieutenant did what he did out of anger. I can't do that. That is a superior officer, and I am bound by policy and procedure to stand by my department. But I would give anything to go tell him what really happened.
I'm floored. So you're telling me that he had to review the use of force policy
received no discipline for his actions. That's what you're telling me that says. Yes, it was definitely inappropriate use of force.
Sergeant Tracy Cooper was Nicole's supervisor and was also concerned by the actions of Lieutenant John Romero.
The next day, I spoke with my chief, and he said it would be looked into. Yes, it was.
We had questions for Williams Police Chief Tad Weigel. We called, emailed, and even visited the department. He declined our request for an on-camera interview. In a statement, he said the AZ Post review determined that there was no misconduct and the case was closed without action.
Before we get on with the show, I just want to give you a quick update on what's going on in Phoenix. You know, we could do something on those guys every day. It's just coming out. Everybody's just going crazy telling their story. But listen, this is it in a nutshell, okay?
When Mayor Gallego and the city of Phoenix leadership say this is new to them, they are lying.
The evidence was always there, and it was everywhere. That's the message tonight from several community groups about the Department of Justice historic investigation into the Phoenix Police Department.
And that's basically it in a nutshell, folks. All right. Phoenix PD has been lying to the people. They've been doing bad things, and now they're acting like, oh, we didn't know. Okay. They're not a very trustworthy outfit there in Phoenix. And it's pretty much like that everywhere in America. He died on his birthday. Mother and teen killed in crash involving Missouri City police officer who was rushing to a scene, officials say. Over 2 hours into the investigation, police said another person was found in the back seat of the patrol car. And over the course of a couple of days, they haven't figured out what that was all about. Missouri City, Texas, 2 people are dead. And that's those 2 people. That 53-year-old mom and her 16-year-old son. 2 people are dead after a crash involving a Missouri City police officer Thursday night, according to a Missouri City Police Department. The Texas Department of Public Safety identified the 2 victims who were killed in the crash as Angela Stewart, 53, and her son, Mason, 16, who was behind the wheel of their car when the crash occurred. A young man. A man who said he was the husband and father of the victims arrived at the scene Friday morning and approached KHOU's Stephanie Whitfield and provided photos of the victims. Rodney Stewart told her that his wife and son had gone to the store, and when they did not return, he started to track them using their mobile devices. That's when it led him to the scene of the crash. I was just tracking my son's phone. I checked to see why they were gone so long, Rodney said. He died on his birthday, man. Look at that. Mason had just turned 16 on the day of the crash. This happened at 8:45 p.m. on Cartwright Road near Texas Parkway. The crash happened when the officer was responding to an in-progress robbery call, the police said. According to officials, the robbery in progress call was an ATM in a shopping center, but before the officer made it there, he crashed into another car. It's unclear whether the officer's lights and sirens were on at the time of the crash. All of this murkiness. Why was the person in the back seat a day or 2 later? We still don't know. We're going to blah, blah, blah. You'll see all that. Murky. Absconding. BS. The officer was taken to a hospital and has since been released. More than 2 hours after the crash, police said another person was found in the backseat of the patrol car. It's unclear whether the man was in custody at the time. An investigation into the crash and whether the department's policies were followed is underway. At this time, we are unsure why that person was in the police vehicle. How he got there, it will be part of the investigation moving forward. Chief Brandon Harris said, "How many days will go by before we ever find out what that's all about, Chief?" That man was taken to the hospital Friday afternoon. Missouri Police City said he underwent surgery for non-life-threatening injuries. According to MCPD, it's a department policy not to respond to another scene if they have someone in their unit. Oh, whoa. The officer has worked in law enforcement for 3 years. He's been with the Missouri City Police Department for 1 year. Okay.
Person who is in the back seat. We did ask Missouri City Police how they're doing. We have no word yet on their condition. And as far as that original robbery in progress call that they were responding to, they are still looking for a suspect in that case.
I seen a police was flying down the street and hit that car. I went and checked on the victim, and I called the police and said, hey, these people's over here is dead.
I heard a vehicle at a high rate of speed, and then I heard a loud boom like an explosion. I looked out the glass and I seen a bunch of smoke.
The police officers didn't even know the people was in the car dead yet. And I let them know that they was dead already.
Also inside the police cruiser was someone in the back seat.
DPS is the one that actually spotted, because if it was Missouri City Police that seen them, they would have had them out. So apparently the Missouri City Police didn't care about checking the back seat of their units, because the other officers should have said that he had a victim in a car.
We are not sure at this time why he was in there or the circumstances surrounding him being in the vehicle in the first place.
A lot of unanswered questions, and now Texas DPS is involved and investigating.
He shouldn't have been going that fast in the 40 miles an hour zone.
And the cop was going extremely too fast. I mean, for them to be dead on impact, I mean, that's pretty fast.
Well, guys, there are still a lot of unanswered questions, and as you can imagine, there's going to be a major investigation, especially after 2 people were killed and that other person was found in the back seat of a cruiser.
As of right now, the city of Minneapolis has paid out nearly $10 million, settling lawsuits alleging officer misconduct.
Rubber bullet, I'm assuming. They shot you
during the riots after George Floyd's killing.
This what y'all shooting us with?
I was wearing ballistic rated impact goggles.
$600,000 of that money went to journalist Linda Tado.
And the thing that actually saved my life that day is because they don't shatter, they flex. The force of the round, rather, made it hit right here, and it made the glasses go concave. And so I got hit with this like huge but dispersed force.
When the city settled with Linda, she was paid. And a federal judge said in the case early on, quote, Tarado's experience as a journalist during the George Floyd protests and her injuries are serious and troubling.
The case itself changed some precedents to clear the path for press freedom. I'd do it again in a heartbeat, even knowing what it was going to cost me, because, I got that story.
What it cost her, she says now, is a far greater price than the one she already paid with her left eye.
I don't think it's worth necessarily dying for. I might have rethought that had I known this was the eventual outcome. But death comes for everybody at some point.
Tado says the 40mm impact round she was shot by that day led to a brain injury that then led to a condition affecting her mind, her memory, and organ function. And so she's choosing now hospice care over more hospitals and more surgeries.
Given the limited options available to me, I think I chose correctly. And I don't think that my choice is one that everybody should make, because this is frightening.
Frightening to lose her train of thought and lose moments of her day where she isn't even lucid, she says. But as you heard her say, this is her choice, and she holds no regrets except one.
Dying is actually pretty great, except for the death part. For the first time in my life, I'm actually free. I just get to live. It's kind of wonderful.
Okay, let's take it easy like a Sunday morning and wrap up the Bad Apple Report early. Thank you so much for being here this morning and every morning right here at home on the range. You guys are awesome. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to whip up another batch of bad apples for you, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m., bright and early. Have a great day, folks.